Some walk through life like locked journals, their pages sealed tight against prying eyes, each entry a guarded secret that only hints at the full narrative within. Their words might flow smoothly in casual conversation, painting a picture of unwavering confidence, effortless calm, or even calculated indifference, but if you look closer, their eyes often betray the real undercurrents, flickers of doubt that dart away like startled shadows, moments of hesitation that linger just a second too long, or unspoken storms brewing behind a composed gaze. In their actions, they are the true storytellers, weaving tales through subtle, everyday choices, the way they pull away ever so slightly during a vulnerable exchange, the unexpected commitment they make when no one is watching, or the quiet sacrifices that reveal loyalties deeper than words could express. You reach out, driven by a natural human desire for connection, trying to bridge the gap, to decipher their intentions and motivations, but it's like grasping at elusive shadows in a dimly lit room. The truth feels perpetually just out of reach, locked behind invisible barriers that shift and reform with every interaction, leaving you questioning, wondering, and sometimes even second-guessing your own perceptions. But here's the profound, almost liberating reality that shifts everything: no mind is ever truly silent or completely impenetrable. It reveals itself in whispers, in those unguarded cracks that appear when least expected, like sunlight piercing through a canopy of leaves. The slight tremor in their voice when pressure mounts, perhaps during a heated discussion or an unexpected challenge, speaks volumes about their resilience, or lack thereof. The values that casually slip into everyday conversations, like hidden gems unearthed in the flow of dialogue, mentions of integrity in a story about work, or compassion in a tale from their past, offer glimpses into their moral compass. The fears disguised as bold declarations, where someone boasts of fearlessness but their body language tells a different story, or the dreams tucked away beneath layers of practical excuses, revealed in offhand comments about what-ifs that they quickly dismiss. You don't need to pry aggressively or force your way in with blunt interrogations. That approach only reinforces defenses, building higher walls and creating more distance. Instead, you need the right doorway, a gentle, thoughtful invitation that allows their inner world to unfold naturally, at its own pace, without feeling threatened or exposed. Stoicism, that timeless philosophy of resilience, wisdom, and inner fortitude drawn from ancient thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, reminds us that human nature isn't a chaotic, unsolvable puzzle to be wrestled with brute force or clever manipulation. It's a repeating pattern, a consistent rhythm that echoes through thoughts, words, and deeds, much like the cycles of nature that the Stoics so often drew upon for metaphors. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who penned his meditations amid the chaos of wars and plagues, wrote profoundly that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In essence, observe the hues and shades of someone's inner reflections, the dominant themes that color their mindset, and you'll see the essence of who they are, stripped of masks, free from pretenses, laid bare in all its authenticity. The key isn't in aggressive probing but in drawing those thoughts to the surface, not through coercion or trickery, but through questions that feel like safe harbors, welcoming and non-judgmental. When asked with genuine curiosity, clear intention, and a touch of empathy, people respond from instinct, from the raw core of their beliefs, without raising their defenses or retreating into scripted responses. In that fleeting yet powerful moment, a quiet truth emerges, not with fanfare, drama, or explosive revelations, but with raw, unmistakable honesty that resonates deeply. Some minds reveal a cautious guardedness, shaped by layers of past betrayals that have taught them to tread carefully. Others show an unquenchable hunger for achievement, adventure, or connection. Some unveil a surprising tenderness beneath a tough, armored exterior, like a warrior who harbors a poet's heart, and a rare few radiate a profound peace that alters the very air around them, making you feel more grounded, more centered, just by being in their presence. Reading someone's mind isn't about unearthing buried secrets like a detective in a thriller novel, or playing psychological games to gain an upper hand. It's about tuning into the subtle signals, where their attention drifts in conversations, what values guide their invisible compass through life's decisions, and what their heart fiercely protects without ever voicing it aloud, perhaps out of fear, habit, or simple oversight. One well-crafted question can illuminate if they evade accountability like a shadow fleeing the dawn light, always shifting blame or avoiding ownership. Another might expose how they transform adversity into fuel for personal growth, turning setbacks into stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Yet another could reveal if they honor their own worth enough to truly honor yours, showing a capacity for mutual respect that forms the bedrock of any meaningful relationship. But here's the beauty: you don't need an arsenal of complex probes, a bookshelf of psychology textbooks, or years of training to achieve this level of clarity. You just need 5 intentional questions, 5 carefully designed portals that bypass fortified walls and open wide windows into their fears, hopes, avoidances, and deepest stands. These aren't demands for confession that put someone on the spot. They invite authenticity in a way that feels natural and unforced, allowing people to speak from that unguarded space where real insight lives, free from performance or pretense. And when they do, something truly transformative occurs. You stop guessing at intentions, stop navigating through fog and ambiguity, and start seeing them with crystal clarity. No illusions to cloud your judgment, no performances to mislead, just the unfiltered truth that empowers your choices. Stoicism emphasizes that this kind of clarity isn't merely insightful or intellectually satisfying, it's profoundly protective, a shield for your emotional well-being. When you grasp someone's true nature, their patterns of behavior, their hidden motivations, you detach from false hopes, idealized projections, and those confusing mixed messages that drain your energy. You no longer pour your heart, time, or resources into uncertain voids that promise much but deliver little. Instead, you move through life with a steady, unshakable gait, your understanding becoming a shield stronger than any lingering doubt or insecurity. Consider, for a moment, the varieties of people we encounter. Some shine with kindness only in fair weather, their warmth fading when challenges arise, like summer flowers wilting in autumn's chill. Others preach loyalty in grand declarations but vanish at the first real test, their words proving hollow. Some boast of inner strength yet shatter under minor strains, revealing fragility beneath the bravado. And a few claim to embody love while dodging the hard work of honesty, preferring comfortable illusions over raw truth. These 5 questions cut through the facade like a Stoic's disciplined blade, revealing the person's core, not through confrontation that breeds resistance, but by letting them unveil themselves organically, in their own words and timing. As we dive in, stay fully present, open your mind wide, and listen not just to the surface words, but to the echoes between them, the pauses, the tones, the unspoken implications. Because mastering the art of intentional asking means you'll never again wander in the dark, lost in speculation about who someone really is. You'll witness it blooming right before you, naturally, effortlessly, profoundly, like a flower opening to the sun after a long night. Let's begin with the first question. What do you feel you're running from right now? This isn't about pointing fingers, dredging up shame, or making someone feel cornered. It's an open, empathetic invitation to explore the shadows we all carry in our psyches. A person's deepest truths aren't found in the polished, rehearsed stories they share at social gatherings, on social media profiles, or in professional settings where image is everything. They're hidden in what they sidestep, what they glance away from in discomfort, what lingers unresolved in the quiet hours of the night when distractions fade. Everyone flees something. It's an intrinsic part of the human condition, a universal thread that connects us all. Perhaps it's the lingering sting of unresolved childhood wounds, like a deep-seated fear of abandonment that makes every close relationship feel like a potential trap waiting to spring. Or maybe it's the heavy weight of responsibility, dodging commitments large and small because the allure of unfettered freedom feels safer than the structure of accountability. Some run from their untapped potential, terrified that pursuing success might demand sacrifices they're not ready to make, or that failure would confirm their deepest insecurities about not being enough. And others escape the raw truth of their shadow self, the flaws, regrets, or darker impulses they hide even from their own reflection, fearing judgment from within. When you pose this question gently, perhaps over a shared coffee in a cozy cafe, during a reflective walk in nature, or in a moment of quiet vulnerability after a long day, it pierces straight to their inner rhythms, the subconscious patterns that drive their daily life. It uncovers the fears that haunt their decisions, the ghosts from the past that haven't been laid to rest, and the wounds that still ache beneath the surface, influencing everything from career choices to how they love. The Stoics, with their emphasis on self-mastery and confronting reality head-on, like Epictetus who rose from slavery to philosophical renown, taught that true freedom starts when we cease fleeing our internal tempests and instead face them with courage. He proclaimed with unflinching clarity, no person is free who is not master of themselves. An honest, thoughtful response to this question lays bare their level of self-mastery, or the evasion that still chains them to old habits and fears. Pay close attention to their reaction, as it often speaks louder than the words themselves. If they respond with sharp, unflinching clarity, naming a specific fear like, I'm running from the regret of past choices that cost me dear relationships, and it's making me hesitant to commit now, it signals deep self-awareness, a mind that's invested time in introspection, perhaps through journaling, therapy, or solitary reflection. Hesitation, a long pause or a sigh before answering, might mean there's a truth they're circling but not yet ready to confront head-on, like someone who's aware of their avoidance of therapy because vulnerability feels too raw and exposing. A quick joke or lighthearted deflection, oh, just running from my overflowing inbox or that gym membership I never use, often masks a deeper fear of true openness, a protective shield against emotional exposure that they've honed over years. Defensiveness, like snapping back with, why would you even ask that? That's personal, hints at unhealed pain they're fiercely guarding, perhaps from trauma that's still fresh or unresolved. This question is a masterclass in revealing how they confront struggle, not the performative kind they show the world, but the hidden, internal battles that shape their character. Imagine someone admitting they're running from disappointment, revealing a personal history dotted with letdowns, from failed ventures to broken promises, that has made them skeptical of new opportunities or bonds, always bracing for the next fall. Another might confess to fleeing people altogether, pointing to shattered trust from repeated betrayals in friendships or romances that have left lasting scars, making solitude feel like the only safe harbor. Or they could say they're escaping their own thoughts, indicating inner turmoil like chronic anxiety, self-doubt, or intrusive rumination they haven't yet tamed through mindfulness or professional help. And if they claim confidently, I'm not running from anything at all, watch closely, that's often the mark of someone sprinting the hardest, buried so deep in denial that they don't even recognize their own flight. Why does this matter so deeply, on a practical, everyday level? Because the patterns they reveal shape every type of connection you'll have with them. In romantic relationships, someone fleeing emotions might ghost without warning, leaving you in a whirlwind of confusion and self-doubt. A runner from responsibility could make grand, sweeping promises in moments of enthusiasm only to bail when real effort or consistency is required, slowly eroding trust and building resentment. Those evading healing might unconsciously repeat toxic cycles, pulling you into their unresolved drama without meaning to, like a partner who projects past hurts onto current situations. Conflict avoiders will let issues fester unspoken, creating rifts that widen over time until they become chasms. Truth dodgers build elaborate facades that crumble under the slightest pressure, leading to bonds that feel superficial and unreliable. But the profound beauty of someone who faces their fears head-on. They become anchors in your life, steady and reliable, capable of patient love that weathers storms, and unwavering honesty that doesn't falter when life turns turbulent or complicated. You deserve that level of discernment in your interactions, whether in love, friendship, or work. This question offers it without aggression or intrusion, bringing light to their emotional landscape, the hills of strength, valleys of vulnerability, and hidden paths of avoidance, so you can decide if it's a terrain worth traversing together, or if it's better admired from afar. It's clarity born from compassion, honesty emerging without the hammer of force. And remember, Stoicism urges us to accept revelations as they are, without distortion. Marcus Aurelius advised wisely, accept the truth of what is given. Don't twist their words into comforting fantasies or excuses, let them map their own path clearly. If it aligns with yours, wonderful, a shared journey awaits. If not, you've gained invaluable wisdom without unnecessary loss or pain. Reflect on this personally. What are you running from in your own life? Let that awareness shape your steps forward, turning evasion into empowerment. Now, moving thoughtfully to the second question, when your emotions scream one thing and your principles whisper another, what wins? Inner conflict is the crucible, the forge where true character is tested, tempered, and ultimately defined, or revealed to be lacking. We all face those pivotal moments when feelings rage like a wildfire consuming everything in its path, anger boiling over in a heated argument, desire pulling us toward temptation in a moment of weakness, fear urging us to retreat from a necessary confrontation, or jealousy whispering poison into our thoughts. Meanwhile, our core values, those quiet, steadfast principles we've cultivated over time, murmur softly for restraint, integrity, courage, or compassion. This question isn't about the surface squabbles with others that can be masked with charm, apologies, or excuses. Those are often performative and easy to rationalize away. It's about the silent, internal wars that no one else sees, the ones that define your reliability, depth, and trustworthiness in the long run. Asking this invites them to expose their moral spine, their level of discipline, their emotional maturity, the very framework that holds them together under stress. Most people, if we're honest, hear their emotions louder than their ethics. Feelings are immediate, visceral, and demanding, like a siren's call that's hard to ignore. But Stoicism, with its emphasis on rational control and virtue, flips the script entirely. Emotions are transient guests passing through your mind, while values are the enduring foundation of your inner home, the structure that withstands life's earthquakes. Epictetus, the former slave-turned-philosopher, wisely noted, if you want to improve, be content to be thoughtful about your devotion to what is right. Does their answer show allegiance to those fleeting impulses that change with the wind, or to the steadfast principles that anchor them? Their response peels back layers of character structure, often in surprising ways. Suppose they admit candidly, I usually follow my feelings, they're too strong to ignore, and suppressing them feels inauthentic. This flags someone driven by whims and moods, passionate and alive in the highs of joy or excitement, but distant, unreliable, or even destructive in the lows of frustration or boredom. They're not villains by any means, but unpredictable, like a boat without an anchor drifting in stormy seas, charming one day, withdrawing the next. In a friendship, they might cancel plans impulsively when a bad mood strikes. In love, they could swing from intense adoration to sudden indifference, leaving you questioning what changed. Others might say, I suppress my feelings entirely to stick to my values, it's the only way to stay in control. This hints at admirable discipline, a commitment to doing what's right even when it's hard, but probe deeper, is it true emotional intelligence, where feelings are acknowledged and integrated, or just a form of numbness that avoids discomfort? Suppressed storms don't disappear, they brew resentment or build pressure, exploding later in unexpected ways, like a partner who bottles up frustration for months until it poisons intimacy with passive aggression or sudden outbursts. Then there are the balanced, evolved souls who describe a more nuanced process. I take a deep breath, pause to weigh both sides, and choose what aligns with the person I aim to become, even if it's not the easiest path. This reveals profound wisdom, a mind that navigates chaos with grace, honoring emotions as valid signals without letting them hijack the wheel. They're the ones who reflect before reacting in anger, choosing words that heal rather than wound, who stay loyal amid temptation, valuing commitment over momentary thrill, who choose honesty over manipulation when insecurity rears its head. These choices ripple outward into every aspect of life, far beyond the moment. In hard times, do they react explosively, lashing out, or respond thoughtfully with measured words? When tempted by shortcuts, at work, in relationships, or personally, do they chase immediate desire or uphold long-term commitment? Scared of vulnerability, do they withdraw into isolation or stand firm, sharing their truth? This shapes the very fabric of bonds, trust that's built or broken, consistency that's reliable or erratic, stability that's nurturing or chaotic. You need to know if they're emotional nomads wandering with every feeling, or principled anchors you can lean on. Deeper still, it shows how they treat themselves in times of turmoil, which inevitably affects how they treat others. A mind that attacks itself harshly during conflicts, berating with self-criticism like, "I'm such an idiot for feeling this way," breeds unpredictability and inner instability. A compassionate mind that understands and integrates fosters trustworthiness and growth. Some blame themselves excessively for even minor conflicts, carrying unnecessary guilt that spills over into relationships as over-apologizing or people-pleasing. Others negotiate internally with kindness, blending empathy for their emotions with resolve to act rightly, clear signs of ongoing growth over self-inflicted fracture. Those who shrug and say, "I don't know, it depends," may simply lack deep introspection, their personal journey still in its early stages, full of potential but uncharted. Stoicism celebrates the triumph of choosing virtue amid the noise of inner conflict. Marcus Aurelius declared with Stoic resolve, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Their answer maps if they're guided by emotional tempests that shift unpredictably, or by the inner steadiness of principles that endure. It reveals levels of safety, consistency, self-understanding, and crucially, how they'll treat you not just in the good times when everything flows easily, but in the complicated moments when tensions rise. To truly understand a mind, grasp its navigation through storms, it's the surest way to predict the weather ahead. Commit personally to letting your principles guide you, reflect on it daily, perhaps through evening reviews as the Stoics did. Transitioning now to the third question. When life has broken you open, what did you finally learn about who you really are? This question delves beyond the surface of pain into the very heart of identity, the raw self that's revealed when life's gentle facade cracks and shatters. People are quick to recount what happened to them, the external blows that life deals, the lost job that upended financial security, the shattered heart from a betrayal, the health crisis that forced vulnerability, or the failure that humbled pride. But few venture deeper into what it taught me about me, the internal revelations that emerge from the rubble. This question hands them a mirror, one that's often avoided out of discomfort or habit, showing if pain propels them toward growth, resilience, and wisdom, or if it leads to surrender, bitterness, or stagnation. Pain alone teaches nothing, it's neutral, a raw force like a storm that passes through. Reflection, brutal honesty, and heightened awareness, these are the alchemists that turn suffering into gold. Yet many rush past the opportunity, unexamined and unchanged. The Stoics viewed pain not as an enemy to be cursed, but as an ally, a messenger from the universe highlighting areas for development. Marcus Aurelius reflected in his writings, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Pain, in this view, shows us precisely what needs strength, what cries for healing, what demands courage, and what requires fundamental change in our approach to life. Their answer unveils their entire worldview. Is pain a cruel teacher that steals joy, or a strict one that builds character? If they say something like, "It taught me not to trust anyone ever again," expect emotional walls, protective barriers that keep out harm but also isolate, pushing away even safe, genuine connections out of fear. Expect the worst from now on, signals a vision dominated by fear, a mindset geared toward survival rather than thriving, always anticipating betrayal or loss. "It taught me nothing, I just moved on," points to emotional avoidance, a mind that shuts down rather than opens, missing the growth that comes from processing. But responses like, "It taught me resilience, patience, or clarity about my boundaries," indicate true evolution, a steady presence that communicates openly over reactive outbursts, heals proactively over hiding wounds, and understands that hurt can shape without defining. Let's paint some hypothetical scenarios to bring this alive. Imagine a friend sharing how a devastating career failure revealed their deep-seated fear of inadequacy, but it also sparked a fire to take bolder risks, leading to unexpected success in a new field. Or a partner admitting that heartbreak taught them their own self-worth, now manifesting as healthier boundaries and a refusal to settle for less. Contrast that with someone who learned only cynicism from similar pain, forever skeptical and closed off, their interactions tinged with suspicion. This exposes if they're positioning themselves as a victim in their life story, blaming external forces, or as an active participant, owning their role in lessons. Learners become attentive and reflective, turning wounds into wisdom without letting them become their identity, like scars that tell stories of survival rather than open sores. Refusers, however, grow unpredictable, their emotions run wild without direction, reactions become louder and more volatile than intentions, and unprocessed pain dictates behaviors they don't even recognize. Listen carefully for the tone in their voice. A heaviness that weighs down their words means lingering burdens still unlifted. Clarity and lightness suggest transformed scars into strengths. Confusion or vagueness indicates patterns never questioned or explored. Each response reveals the emotional roadmap that guides their decisions, relationships, trust levels, and daily actions, the very coordinates of their inner world. Stoicism stresses the power of self-examination as a path to strength. Seneca, the advisor to emperors, asserted, "The mind that examines itself is strengthened." Those who reflect build emotional fortitude, becoming pillars in tough times. Avoiders remain fragile, cracking under pressure. Know if they need extra patience for their shutdown modes, understanding for emotional coldness, or caution for unresolved anger. This insight doesn't grant control over them, it provides protection for you, a heart guarded by knowledge. Because how a person responds to pain is how they respond to love with openness or guards, to responsibility with ownership or deflection, to conflict with dialogue or drama, and ultimately to you in all your complexity. Surround yourself with those who face their pain with honesty, not those who let it speak unchecked, projecting shadows onto others. This question doesn't just unearth their past, it charts their trajectory, the direction of healing forward with purpose, or hurting forward in cycles. Embrace your own challenges as shapers of strength, declare your commitment to growth from them. Now, the fourth question: what promise to yourself do you refuse to break, no matter what? Promises made to others can be flexible, bent by circumstances, justified with excuses, or abandoned when inconvenient. But self-promises, those forged in the solitude of your own mind, unmonitored by external eyes, they're the sacred bedrock of personal integrity, the vows that reveal who you are when the world isn't watching. This question uncovers that foundation: what holds firm when everything else shakes, what remains unyielding amid life's tempests. Stoicism places character squarely in the realm of self-loyalty, the alignment between inner word and action. Epictetus instructed with practical wisdom: first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. It's a commitment to your own becoming, a promise to live up to your ideals. Responses can vary widely, each a window into their soul. An easy, flowing answer shows clarity and conviction. A struggle or pause indicates inner voids or conflicts. Complete avoidance reveals deeper, perhaps uncomfortable truths. Listen carefully. Someone saying, "I never give up on myself, even in the darkest moments," signals profound inner resilience, a mindset built on self-faith and determination that carries them through despair. "I promise to treat others with kindness, no matter how they treat me," reveals a heart anchored in compassion, valuing empathy even when the world feels heavy or hostile. "Never revert to my old self, the one who settled for less," indicates active growth, a deliberate refusal to repeat painful patterns from the past. If they say, "I don't make promises to myself," this hints at a lack of inner structure, a wandering identity without clear direction, a life lived more in reaction to external forces than intentional pursuit. And those who admit, "I break them often, but I'm working on it," need healing rather than judgment. It shows a mind searching for discipline, a heart that yearns for better but hasn't yet forged the tools for consistency. Notice the themes woven into their words. Do they talk about daily habits like, "I promise to move my body every day for my health"? Boundaries, such as, "I won't let anyone disrespect my time"? Values like, "Always speak my truth, even if it's hard"? Survival mechanisms, like, "Protect my peace at all costs"? Or dreams, such as, "Pursue my passion, no matter the obstacles"? Each path reveals a piece of their mindset. If the promise is rooted in past pain, they're likely still in a healing phase, building safeguards. Fear-based, they're protective, perhaps overly so. Growth-oriented, they're actively rising, evolving. Purposeful, you're dealing with someone guided by an inner compass, steady and directed. This question also forecasts their future, not through crystal balls, but by showing how they approach it. A person who keeps inner promises cultivates discipline brick by brick. Discipline forges stability, stability nurtures trust, and trust creates a life that doesn't collapse under pressure, whether from external challenges or internal doubts. Conversely, one who constantly breaks self-promises lives in emotional debt, always behind on healing, lagging in growth, shortchanging the relationship they have with themselves. And if they're behind with themselves, they'll inevitably fall behind with you too, in reliability, presence, or depth. But do not judge their answer harshly. This isn't a test to pass or fail, but a window to peer through with empathy. It shows whether you're dealing with someone who already honors their word intrinsically, or someone still learning how to build that muscle. Stoicism reminds us that the greatest strength lies in the alignment between what you say internally and what you do externally. Marcus Aurelius believed a person's worth is measured by the worth of what they pursue, and self-promises reveal exactly what they pursue in life's quiet moments, away from applause or scrutiny. When someone shares what they always keep, they're handing you their identity, loyalty, direction, and truth. If they keep nothing sacred, they're still searching for themselves amid the noise. Honor your own promises, make them unbreakable, and let that self-loyalty radiate outward. Finally, the fifth question: what kind of peace are you actually trying to build? This question reaches the deepest, most forward-looking part of someone's mind, not dwelling on past scars, current habits, or immediate conflicts, but on their direction, their vision, the inner sanctuary they're constructing brick by intentional brick. Peace isn't a one-size-fits-all state. Every person architects a unique version based on their experiences, needs, and aspirations. Some build peace made of silence, craving quiet after years of noise. Others seek stability, longing for consistency after chaos. Some pursue freedom, breaking free from felt traps. Others desire deep connection, healing from isolation. And some aim for self-trust, mending inner conflicts. Yet others might not know what they're building, creating chaos unwittingly through unexamined actions. Stoicism locates true peace not in external circumstances, but in inner order and acceptance. Seneca, reflecting on life's fleeting nature, wrote, "No person can have a peaceful life who thinks too much about length rather than depth." Peace isn't about how long life feels good, but how deeply it feels aligned and right. Listen carefully to their articulation. If they say, "I just want quiet, no more drama," it reveals emotional exhaustion, perhaps from overwhelming relationships, work stress, or constant demands. I want stability in my routines and relationships, shows someone who's navigated unpredictable upheavals, like job losses or unstable homes, and now craves a solid foundation. Freedom to be myself without judgment, indicates a heart that felt trapped, maybe by societal expectations or controlling dynamics, now stretching toward authenticity. Peace with myself, forgiving old mistakes, points to someone carrying inner conflict, actively healing their self-relationship through reflection or practices like meditation. And, I don't know yet, reveals a mind still searching, a heart in transition that needs time and space, not pressure. Whatever form it takes, their answer matters immensely because knowing their peace blueprint tells you what they need most, what they'll protect at all costs, and whether your presence nurtures that peace or inadvertently disrupts it. You learn if your lifestyle aligns. Do you bring calm to their desired silence, or add noise? This question also highlights emotional maturity. A well-defined peace suggests inner work done, with reflection, processing, and conscious choices. But avoidance or vagueness often mirrors self-avoidance, a reluctance to dive deep. Someone seeking peace through control might grapple with underlying insecurity, micromanaging to feel safe. Isolation for peace could stem from betrayal wounds still healing. Change-driven peace signals readiness for growth, embracing transformation. Honesty-based peace implies a history of silence or deception, now valuing openness. Their definition of peace predicts how they'll handle key life areas, relationships pulling away for distance or leaning in for connection, conflict, avoiding or addressing, loyalty, steadfast or conditional, growth, embracing challenges or resisting. If peace requires distance, expect frequent withdrawals. If growth, expect mutual challenges. If honesty, expect direct communication. If safety, expect careful heart guarding. If self-respect, expect zero tolerance for imbalance. This doesn't just reveal their present state, it illuminates who they aspire to become, the person emerging from current efforts. It shows if they're building intentionally toward a future where love grows freely, trust breathes easily, emotional storms quiet down, and connections deepen without fear. Peace is the foundation. Without it, clarity falters in love, thought, and living. Marcus Aurelius found ultimate retreat in the soul. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. See if they're merely seeking refuge or actively creating it within. These 5 questions are gentle, powerful mirrors, fostering understanding over judgment, connection over control. They reveal truths without pressure, showing who someone is beneath practiced answers and polished surfaces. Real bonds, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, thrive on this clarity, not on confusion or assumptions. Stoicism promises that the more we understand others' natures, the less chaos we invite into our own lives, allowing us to focus on what we can control, our responses, our choices. Marcus Aurelius invited openness to truth. If someone can show me that what I think or do is not right, I will gladly change. That's the heart of wisdom, openness, awareness, courage to see reality as it is. Through these questions, learn how they carry pain with grace or grudge, hold principles firmly or flexibly, honor themselves deeply or superficially, navigate inner conflict wisely or impulsively, and build peace intentionally or haphazardly. You gain insight into their direction. Does it match yours? Their emotional language, can you speak it fluently? Their depth, can they meet you in yours? Understanding aligns lives, revealing who belongs in your story as allies and who serves best as lessons learned. Carry these questions with care, use them with pure intention, and let them guide you toward people who speak with honesty, love with clarity, and walk with the steadiness you're cultivating within yourself. Think about the people in your life, the energies you allow close, commit to attracting alignment, growth, and truth. If this message has stirred something within you, share your thoughts or favorite question below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to keep this wisdom flowing to those who need it. Your support amplifies the reach.